want you to give yourself like a huge pat on the back, congratulate yourself, because showing up here again just shows how much you care deeply about your family and your children, and that you are putting the action in. You are continuing to say, yes, yes, I'm ready for more. Yes, I'm ready for change. Yes, I'm not going to be in this place of thinking I'm a victim to my child's behavior. You know, I think of Christy, who was an amazing client of ours, and she was tired of battling with her daughter. And as she went through the work with me as a parenting coach, she said, it was just so fun to finally be able to feel like I'm not a victim to her behavior. I'm instead actually her coach and her guide. And with the right tools, I'm totally able to do that. It feels so much better. So you are here, you've started that road, and you are committing to it each day that you show up. Each time you say yes, you're showing that you're that type of person that is going to make change happen in your life. And I'm honored to be on this path with you. Hi, Dorothea. So glad to see you. Say hello. The first 3 people who leave a comment below saying how you're feeling about being here today are going to get a $5 coffee card sent to you, Starbucks coffee card. So let us know who's here. How are you feeling about being here today? Let us know you're watching. Hi, Odd. Hi, Dana. Great to see you. Hi again, Dorothea. Wonderful. So short recap on yesterday, in case you missed it, is that the point of day 1 and how to parent smarter, not harder, is to tell you it's not your fault. Friends, it is not your fault if you have been in a space of being frustrated that the kids don't listen and old patterns just seem to lead to repeating and nagging and then them not listening till you yell. It's because a lot of parenting advice out there makes us believe we're supposed to do things in a way that doesn't work and leads us down that road of the key errors we talked about. Parenting from the neck up, doing all this verbalizing and logic to try to change their behavior that doesn't often move the dial, or being in a ping ball sort of way where we try the gentle things, but they don't have enough of a backbone. So we lose our crap and we end up blowing up. And third of all, it's so easy to just then, when we don't see things working, launch into why are you being this way? Why is it so difficult? Which gives away our power. So it is not your fault that those errors are coming up. And I hope you feel some freedom knowing, okay, so it's not just me. It's not just that I somehow am like not meant for this role of parenting, or I'm never going to be able to do it. It's not that I have a like sociopath or just some kind of too difficult of a kid. It's that those strategies just don't work. And it's easy to fall into those places from a lot of the parenting advice out there. Does anyone else feel this? Like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, I was doing those key errors because of some of the stuff I see on Instagram or books. It feels like it was telling me to do that. So Flora, you're telling me to do it a different way. I'm really eager today to find out what else that is, but I was doing it because I thought it was the right way to do it. Odd says, yes, me for sure. It's not just you. It reminds me of when I was teaching dance, and keep answering and liking and sharing if you connect with what someone else is saying here, if you are relieved to know it's not just you. It reminds me of when I took salsa dancing lessons. So I moved to Montana, where my husband is from, and in exchange, I finally convinced him to take salsa lessons with me. And it was before we were getting married, and we signed up with this teacher that we heard was amazing. We get there. It's not the amazing teacher. It was a sub for the term. And I remember I was trying to learn a move. I love to dance, but this was something new for me and I wasn't doing it right. And she was like, no, don't do it like that. You want to be more like boom. You want to be like boom. I was like, it became this inside joke between me and my husband, because I was like, what the heck is boom? What does that mean? And I would try to do it, but it just never was effective. I couldn't do it the way she was doing it. And then one day we had a sub, and I got to see what an expert coach really is able to do to get you into a better space. And she described that same movement with exactness. Like, you're going to take your hips, like you're moving it from an 11 o'clock to a 3 o'clock to a 7 o'clock. And it was like, oh, and then I could do it. And I felt suddenly like so graceful and skillful. It wasn't that I changed being a different person. It was a coach that gave me the exact recipe so then I could flourish and do that thing I was trying so hard to do. Friend, that's what we're going to do for you today. So we are not going to be like all that noise. Today, you get the exact recipes. How does it feel to think about that? To go from the advice out there that's been like, just do it, like, boom. That's all the garbage we talked about yesterday and those errors. Today, we're going to give you the exact recipes. And that's what I love to do in my work. That's what I think is unique. There's a lot of parenting coaches out there that you could work with. If you choose to move forward and do more work with me, that's what most of my clients give the feedback. It's like, oh, you finally gave me the exact recipe and steps that made sense so I could feel graceful and skillful. So let's get you started today with a couple of those key pieces. Yay, Danny. And Danny's a fellow dancer. I know you can relate to that analogy. So today's topic is how to have the secret to less anger and more cooperation, because the two really go together. Before I mastered what we're talking about, I mean, I can remember having tantrum after tantrum that my son would go through, 45-minute long meltdowns and power struggles. And I would just tell myself, you got to be more patient. You got to be more patient. And it never got me anywhere. I would just keep like, maybe patient, and then blow up because his behavior kept not changing. And when I mastered the tools I'm going to give you today, it unlocked the ease and the calm. It unlocked it. And I can remember just like driving down the street where I was driving him to the library. And it was simple. We drove to the library often, but something in that moment clicked. And it was like, I finally feel like I'm in the driver's seat. I'm not just a recipient to his challenging behavior that would then make me feel powerless and overwhelmed and then lose it and get so angry. I'm feeling like way more calm and confident because I'm in the driver's seat. I'm finally feeling that in my parenting, and it feels so much better. And that's what I want to give you today. If you take these actions, I promise this is the gateway to having you feel less angry because you are more powerful, being that compassionate, powerful leader of the family. Anyone interested in being that compassionate, powerful leader instead of the victim of your kids' upset behaviors? Put an emoji below. Yeah. We are here for it together. Together, we will get you there. So if you have your handout from the Calm Confident workshop, you can start filling in these bubbles. And if you don't have it, please put the word workbook or handout, and we will get that to you. It says the key that unlocks less anger is not more patience. I have like, this is like my arch nemesis is the word patience. First thing I want you to know is it is not about more patience. Patience, often I see embodied in people like two parents were talking yesterday, Marius and Sarah, about it's like, I'll just try to explain what they need to do differently. And it just, they will just immediately say, no, I'm not doing that. And if you're telling yourself to be more patient and you're letting that be, that then they're walking all over you, or they're just resisting and doing whatever the heck they want to, like another mom was sharing, like we just, my kids will just ignore me and keep watching TV and keep doing video games. I can't get them to connect and share with me, or younger kids. Patience can often be a sheep or a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like we are pretending it's about patience, but really it's that we're not standing into our strength and making sure to be that compassionate, powerful leader. I don't want you to keep telling yourself to be patient. I want you to start telling yourself, how in this moment could I be a compassionate, powerful leader? And the tools I'm going to give you are going to put that into actual action of how you're that compassionate, powerful leader. And here's why. The tools I'm about to give you help you to give your child power in the right time and in the right way. Because let's be honest, if we are just telling our kids what to do all day, they are probably going to fight back for a sense of power, because kids have two main buckets, attention and power. And if we are not finding ways to adequately fill both of those, not incessantly, but like in the right time and in the right way, they are going to battle us. So this is about how we're the powerful leader in a way that also makes them feel powerful and connected. When we really find all of that, that is how you have effective boundaries and motivations that will lead to the kids listening, that will lead to better behavior. So when I made these changes with Caleb, it made all the difference in the world. When I make these changes with my daughter, all the difference in the world. I told you yesterday some of my most embarrassing stories with them. When I do what we're talking about today, it's way more effective, and I'm not embarrassed of what they're doing, and I'm not embarrassed of the immature places I end up in. So the first rule that we're going to apply today and that you guys are going to put into action, write this down, write it in the comments. If you don't have your hand out, write it in the comments. We do not negotiate with terrorists. We do not negotiate with terrorists. Friends, I know your little cherub, your daughter, your son, your child is an amazing human being, and they're adorable and they're wonderful and they make you laugh and all those things, of course. And I can tell you, though, that there's probably times that being the loving, caring parent that you are, you think you are tending to their need by they're like, I need this. I don't want to go there. That's not fair. He's being mean to me. And we're talking it through with them in a moment where they're being like a terrorist. They're demanding of us. They are, saying this is how it has to be, or they're ignoring us. No, no, no. First rule I want you to think about as you move back into your parenting day with your kids, to get better listening, we are not going to negotiate with terrorists. Say it with me. We are not going to negotiate with terrorists. What does that really look like? So I'm not just telling you to do the boom move, but I'm giving you the recipe. If you struggle with how to hold your firmness when they are pushing back, or you struggle with your kindness when you're keeping a limit, this middle ground phrase I love is, I love you, and the answer is no. Write that down. I love you, and not but. I love you, and the answer is no. It's so simple and super powerful. Yes, says Courtney. When you use I love you and the answer is no, if your child is pushing back on you and saying, but I really wanted, and they're negotiating, this is your powerhouse way to stay kind and firm. If you are telling your child, I'm going to walk away because you're yelling and I'm not engaging with that, you can add the I love you to it. I love you, and I'm going to walk away because I'm not engaging with that. So on either end, whether you struggle with keeping kindness in your parenting in those difficult moments, or you struggle with keeping firmness, this is your first super powerful tool. Instead of negotiating with a terrorist, we are going to say, I love you, and the answer is no, or I love you, and insert whatever boundary. Okay, second key rule to get the kids listening in a way that's way more effective and actually saves you time and energy is we're going to make agreements in advance. This is part 2 in your handout. Write it down. We're going to make agreements in advance. Now, what does that mean? And you may be sitting there going, oh my gosh, Flora, you're just telling me to do all these things. My kid just needs to listen. Just how's he going to change? Friend, you came to me for the answers that are actually going to work. And the bottom line is, if you are like, I don't have the energy to do things differently, you don't have the energy not to. What I mean by that is, and I just mean this, I say this from the most compassionate place because I'm a working mom. I get it. You have interests of your own. You're trying to clean the house, or you're trying to do your job. You just want to get through the day. But the truth of the matter is, and we talk about this in my parenting groups again and again, we bring ourselves back to this truth. We can suffer with a purpose, or we can suffer in circles. I mean, I'm not being Pollyanna. There may be some suffering. It takes some effort to say, I'm going to make an agreement in advance. I'm going to do some thinking ahead of time here. But it's worth it because the time gets spent one way or the other. The time either gets spent putting out fires, or you can be that wise parent who's parenting smarter, not harder, and put some effort in the beginning, make agreements in advance with yourself and with your kids. And that's like a little bit hard. It is work, but it's going to save you time and energy. I'm not telling you to do more, just put more on your plate. I am telling you this is going to get you out of the struggles and get you into more ease. Does that resonate? If you're like, yes, I totally have been always just responding. Many people have been telling me this in Messenger or in some of the comments yesterday. I'm putting out fires. Put that word down. If it's like, yeah, I see that I'm just putting out fires. I'm responding. We're just like knee jerk trying to grab this or that when the things go wrong. I've never thought to like make some plans in advance about what the rules and boundaries are going to be. So then I can just play them out in the moment. If that's you, then here's what I want you to do instead. So making agreements in advance, first of all, is about you, right? Because if you're just grabbing at things whenever the fire comes up, then you're probably not a very effective fireman, right? You're just like grabbing crap. Like I'd probably be the person who's like throwing water on a grease fire just because you're like, I don't know. That's what we end up doing in our lives with our kids if we haven't thought it through ahead of time. So when you make an agreement in advance, first of all, that really puts you in that driver's seat so that when a moment comes up and they push your boundary, you're like, I have a plan for that. And a simple, image, we always look at this. Let me see if I can make sure you can see it. We look at this again and again in my coaching work with parents in our parenting group, that our goal is to be crystal clear. Let's make a plan in advance, buddy. If you make this happy choice, it will lead to this happy result. If you make this sad choice, it will lead to this sad result. Now, again, I promised you that I'd be giving you tools that are getting kids to listen, but in a loving, connected way. We're not saying if you're a good boy or a good girl, we're not doing that. We're not shaming, blaming. We're using that's called the 2 roads, signature part of the CEO tool belt that I give to parents in sustainable parenting. That 2 roads is an agreement we make in advance. Let me put it really tangible for you. So if we're talking about bedtime, I'm going to say, honey, new rule, when you've got your jammies on and your peach and your brush your teeth, quick and snappy, and you're in your bed, we'll read 2 books 2 songs, and then turn out the lights. When it's taking you longer, and I have to remind you, if it looks like we're running out of time, we're going to lose a book. Oh, goodness. And now is it taking longer? We might lose our second book. So I'm able to incrementally, really easily, not a star chart and having to go to Target or any of that garbage, just in the moments, use some when-thens. When this happy choice, this will be the happy result. And when this sad choice, this will be the sad result. Boom, parents start seeing the kids getting ready for bed. Or if it's technology time, honey, this is going to be the agreement. We're going to have an actual plan that we only do TV, first thing in the morning with breakfast and right after nap or something like that. Or with the older kids, this is when your tech time is. And when, you've done your chore or you have gotten dressed for school, then you get to watch your show. And when you haven't, then you haven't. Then you get to do this thing I call the third party bad guy. You're just like, I don't know. Well, it looks like you may run out of time to watch your show because I don't see any clothes on, or I don't see your chore done. I'm not going to be able to get your video games out. When then that thing gets to be the third party bad guy because you made the agreement in advance. It helps you follow through because you already planned for it. And then also it helps the child to regulate. Because as we talked about, if you've been a pinball parent and not consistent, they're going to keep consistently pushing. This helps you to be consistent. The third agreement I need from you to be getting into better action where your kids are going to listen is to stop taking their behavior personally. Stop taking it personally. Would you write that in the comments? Stop taking it personally. And Courtney, great question. She says, what if they say they don't care about the boundary, the when then? Well, if you've mastered it correctly, you've made an agreement in advance, they are going to care. And especially Courtney, I know you have older kids. We got to involve them in it. Sometimes we're just like telling them, ordering them, doing all of the thinking and planning. And then of course they're more likely to push back. So you and I know are going to have a one-on-one. Involve them. Older kids. One of the key tools we also give you is how you do that. How do you get them to be more motivated to the plans that are made? It is totally doable. It just takes approaching it different than your knee-jerk reaction probably has been. We got to involve them, and I'll give you the exact recipe how to do that. Rule number 3, stop taking it personally, because I know a lot of moms that especially, but dads too, that say they lose it on their kids when they're not listening, or they're being resistant, or they start to have a meltdown from the outcome of those 2 roads. Because they take it personally. They're like, he's freaking out. That means I'm failing as a mom. That means he's never going to learn. He's going to be a jerk in this world. And we go to all of these deep, dark places. And so we then avoid the upset because we take that upset so personally. That's going to keep you in cycles of suffering. Instead, what I want you to know is it's your kid's job to test rules and boundaries, to see what happens when they do. And it's okay if they face up against a negative or a sad choice and they get a sad result. We're going to say, I bet you'll make a different choice next time. We're not going to rob them of experiencing the outcome of their choice. If they're sad, we're going to say, I see that you're sad about that. Yeah. And I bet you'll make a different choice next time. That's how change happens. That's suffering with a purpose instead of suffering in circles. That's a kid where the tantrum that sucks and is embarrassing in front of your in-laws, or even just frustrating because it's at home on a busy night, is going to lead to new behavior the next day. I see it time and time again. When you've made the agreement in advance and been clear, they choose something and then they have a frustration about the outcome of that, but we're holding to it. That's where learning happens. And they start learning to want to choose to listen and different behaviors. If this is clicking for you, tell me the thoughts and feelings that are going through your mind right now. Because I want you to be like the moms and dads that I see countlessly in my work as a parenting coach in sustainable parenting. Like Emily, who said, boy, when I'm doing these types of things, I feel like teacher instead of dictator. I'm the guide of the ship instead of just like the angry drill sergeant. Or Lisa, who said, especially number 3, helped her to feel less on a constant roller coaster whenever the kids were having emotions, and that she could be that calm whenever there was a storm. And Christy again, who said, I feel amazing being able to like calm those emotions. There's nothing more powerful than that. Dorothea asked an important question. Can I word it like, I hope you make a better choice next time? That's so interesting. So we talk in sustainable parenting, the CEO unique recipe that is super effective with clear boundaries and ways that effectively motivate better behavior. We call the CEO, the O part are our tools of ownership. And if we work together, Dorothy, I would challenge you to think about, is you saying, I want you to make it better. I hope you'll make a different choice next time. Is that you taking the ownership versus, the way I word it is I want the child to feel the ownership. I use you language. Boy, I can see that you were frustrated by how that worked out for you. And I bet you'll make a different choice next time. Because we want intrinsic motivation, that they're going to want to choose this throughout life, and that it's not just about you. So that'd be just a small piece there. Thank you for that question. So friends, your homework today is I want you to practice one or more of these 3 rules, put it into action, and then come back and share. There's going to be a homework thread in the Facebook group that asks you to share, where did you notice yourself in a moment feeling like that compassionate, powerful leader? Come back, share your success stories. We want to hear it from you. We want to celebrate with you when you use those tools. And then be back tomorrow, as I'm going to give you the best question to end your daily battles. See you tomorrow, friends.